Keanu Reeves was driving home in his favorite car. Everything felt normal and peaceful. Until it didn't. Suddenly, something very bad happened. No one could guess that in just a few minutes, Keanu wouldn't be fighting movie bad guys. He would be fighting for his own safety. Not against robbers, but against police officers. Not for justice, but just to survive. The road was quiet. Everything was calm, just like how the sky looks when the sun is going down. Tall trees stood on both sides of the road. Their long shadows moved across the old, cracked road like dancers. The only sound was the deep, steady noise of Keanu's car, a shiny, old 1969 Mustang. Its engine made a soft sound, like a calm heartbeat. Inside the car, Keanu Reeves was driving. Most people in the world would recognize him as a movie star. But not here. Not now. Today, he wasn't dressed like a famous person. He wore a simple gray t-shirt under a faded blue jacket. His beard was a bit messy, and his long hair was tucked into a trucker hat. His jeans had dust on them, and his brown boots were old and worn out. He looked more like a traveler than a celebrity. And that was on purpose. Keanu had just spent a whole week alone in the woods. No cameras, no trailers, no people asking him to change movie lines in the middle of the night. Just birds, cold creeks, and quiet. He needed peace. Sometimes, when people cheer for you too much, you forget who you really are. Out in nature, with no noise, he felt like himself again. He gently tapped the steering wheel as he hummed a song, something like Nina Simone. His car didn't have fancy technology. No Bluetooth, no screens. Just old knobs, soft leather seats, and a stubborn music player that had been playing the same song, Ain't No Sunshine, for 3 days straight. A curve came up on the road. Keanu turned the wheel smoothly. His car purred like a happy cat. Then, all of a sudden, bright headlights flashed toward him. A black car zoomed by on the other side of the road. It swerved sharply and then quickly pulled in front of Keanu's Mustang, almost crashing into him. Keanu hit the brakes fast. The tires screeched loudly. His coffee cup flew out of the holder and spilled upside down on the seat. His heart beat faster. Easy, he said to himself, trying to stay calm. The black car didn't stop. It swerved between lanes and drove away fast like a ghost that had too much to drink. Keanu was upset. He wiped his hand on his jeans and flashed his headlights once. It was just a signal, a way to say, "Hey, are you okay?" Not to start a fight. But then, the black car slammed on its brakes and stopped right in front of him. Dust flew into the air. Keanu stopped too, staying back a little. His Mustang engine rumbled like it could feel something bad was about to happen. 2 men got out of the black car. They wore black boots, dark jeans, and jackets that looked like they were part of some police group. One had a badge on a chain. The other cracked his knuckles as he walked toward Keanu with a mean look in his eyes. Keanu sat still with both hands on the wheel. He didn't know yet that in 5 minutes he would be bleeding on the ground. He didn't know this quiet road would become worldwide news. And he didn't know that just being quiet and different could make him a target. Not because he was famous, but because they didn't think he mattered. The taller officer walked halfway to the car. His boots crunched the gravel. The other officer followed, one hand near his belt, his fingers touching a stick-like weapon. They looked angry and ready to cause trouble. Keanu rolled down his window halfway. His left hand stayed on the wheel. His right hand rested on the door. He didn't reach for anything. "Evening, officers," Keanu said calmly. "Is there a problem?" They didn't answer right away. The taller one came closer. His face was tight with anger. "Are you flashing your lights at us?" he asked. "I thought your car was swerving," Keanu replied gently. "I just wanted to check if you were okay." The second officer gave a cold, fake laugh. "Cute," he said. Then it got very quiet. A strange kind of silence that made Keanu's skin crawl. "What's your name?" the first officer asked. "Keanu," he said simply. The 2 men looked at each other. Then came a mean smile. "Oh, you're Keanu, huh?" the taller one said, leaning in and staring hard at Keanu's face like he didn't believe him. "That's some kind of joke?" "No joke," Keanu said. But the officers had already made up their minds. They didn't care who he was. License and registration, the second officer barked. They're in the glove box, Keanu said. He slowly moved his hand. Don't move, the tall one shouted, quickly touching the gun on his side. Keanu froze. His hand stayed still in midair. I said glove box. That's all, Keanu explained. The air now felt heavy and dangerous. This wasn't about rules anymore. It was about power. Step out of the vehicle, the second officer ordered. Keanu was confused. Why? He asked. The taller man opened the door and grabbed Keanu roughly. Because I said so. Keanu got out slowly. His hands were easy to see. He stood tall but calm, not scared, not fighting. The officers walked around him like wolves. One of them kicked Keanu's boot with his own. Where are you going? The shorter one asked. Home, Keanu replied. Where's that? The other officer said with a smirk. Keanu joked quietly, a cardboard box under a bridge. The taller one laughed and stepped closer. You know what your problem is? You act too calm. Like you think you're better than us. Keanu looked at him. No, I just don't want trouble. Too late for that, the officer said. Then he pushed Keanu hard. Keanu stumbled and caught himself on the Mustang. But before he could say anything, a fist slammed into his jaw. Pain hit him like lightning. His mouth filled with blood. Everything spun. Another punch. Then a boot kicked him in the ribs. Keanu fell onto the rocky ground. Stars flashed in his eyes. The air smelled like gas, sweat, and something worse. A voice shouted, You think you're someone? You're no one. Keanu tried to breathe. He didn't fight. He just wanted to talk. But it was no use. They didn't recognize him. And worse, they didn't care. The ground was sharp against Keanu's face. He didn't move. His ribs screamed with pain. His right arm felt weird, twisted and hot, maybe broken. Heavy boots walked around him. A hand grabbed his jacket collar and pulled him up. His legs gave out, but they shoved him hard against the car. You want to play the hero, the officer said. What is this? Keanu opened his mouth, but another punch slammed into his stomach. He couldn't breathe. He fell again, coughing and dizzy. The other officer stood nearby, walking back and forth like a shark. You know what I hate? Guys who act tough then play victim. Keanu whispered. I haven't said anything. The officer bent down, grabbed Keanu's hair, and yanked his head up. Exactly. You think staying quiet makes you innocent. He let go, and Keanu's head dropped. Then everything changed. The taller officer took something from his pocket. Click. A lighter. Keanu saw it even through his blurry eyes. A plastic gas can appeared. They must have gotten it from their police car. The officer smiled. Nice car. It's really nice. You must have worked hard for this. Keanu said nothing. You'll remember this, the officer said. Every time you hear an engine, you'll think of us. Gasoline splashed on the car, the hood, the seats, everywhere. Keanu's heart pounded hard. This wasn't just mean. This was something worse. Something evil. One of the officers stepped back and tossed the lighter. Whoosh! The fire exploded across the car. Flames danced over the roof. The shiny paint burned black. The seats sizzled. The chrome melted. Keanu turned his face, covering his good arm from the heat. Even from far away, it burned his skin. The car he loved, the one he fixed with his own hands, was gone in seconds. You're lucky we don't light you up too, one officer muttered. The other laughed. Thanks for the cash. Keanu didn't even feel it when they took his wallet. He just stared at the fire. His jaw hurt. His chest went up and down with pain and smoke. Finally, the police car drove away. Its red lights disappeared into the trees. Keanu was lying on the ground. He was hurt badly and all alone. For a long time, he didn't move. Then, with shaking hands and blood on his lips, he pushed his hand into the dirt and slowly sat up. His breathing was hard. Every time he breathed in, it hurt a lot, like fire in his chest. He didn't speak, but his eyes looked strong, brighter than the fire behind him. The road was dark now. Not just because the sun was gone, but because Keanu could only feel pain. All he could think about was breathing and walking forward. He walked slowly. His steps were wobbly. One arm was held close to his chest. It didn't move. It was hurt too badly. His other hand swung just a little to help him stay balanced. He didn't have his boots. They had taken them off when they beat him up. His socks were wet with blood and full of little rocks. Each step hurt so much. Every breath felt like something sharp inside his chest. But still he walked. He didn't have a phone. No wallet. No car. The only thing he had was what had just happened to him. And the thought that if he stopped walking now, he might never walk again. The wind blew through the trees. It felt cool on his sweaty, bloody skin. The smoke smell followed him. His car, the Mustang, had burned. He could still smell it. That car wasn't just a car. It was his. He had fixed it himself. It was the one thing that wasn't touched by Hollywood or fame. It was his way to escape. Now it was gone. He tripped on a tree root and fell to one knee. The sharp rocks cut his skin. His head felt dizzy. The stars above him spun around slowly. Part of him wanted to stay down. But he didn't. He pushed himself up again using his good hand. He bit his teeth together, and the taste of blood came back into his mouth. One more step. Then another. And another. He walked for hours until he saw a soft light ahead. A small town was coming into view. There was a gas station, a diner, a police officer at the end of the road. Keanu stayed in the dark shadows. Not because he was scared, just because it felt natural. He passed a sign that said "Welcome to Bristol County." It was hard to read in the moonlight. The first time he came here, it was to film a movie. The people were nice. They had invited him to cookouts, shown him their farms, told him they liked how humble he was. Now, he looked like a man who had been through a nightmare. His face had dried blood. His jacket was ripped. His hands shook as he walked into the police station parking lot. A red light in the window said "Open," but it blinked like it was tired. He looked at himself in the glass on the door. He didn't know who he was anymore. Then, using all the strength he had left, Keanu pushed the door open and walked inside. 2 police officers were sitting at the desk. They looked up. Their eyes got big. No one spoke. One officer stood up slowly, staring. "Wait, is that?" Keanu spoke. His voice was quiet but clear. "I need help," he said. "And I need you to look at the highway cameras." They stared at him, shocked. Then he added, "I think 2 of your own officers just left me to die." The cameras started loading. A little spinning circle showed it was taking time. Keanu sat in a chair next to the desk. His arm was held close to his chest. A medic had asked to take him to the hospital, but he said no, not yet. He wanted them to see the truth first. 2 officers stood nearby. They didn't say anything. They looked both scared and surprised. Finally, the screen turned on. The video played. It showed Keanu's car, the Mustang. A black car came close and almost hit him. He flashed his lights once. Then the black car blocked him. 2 men got out. They walked to him like hunters. Then the fight began. There was no sound, but the video showed everything clearly. The men pulled him from the car. They hit him. They pushed him down. One man kicked him hard in the ribs. Another twisted his arm until Keanu screamed. One of the officers watching the video clenched his jaw. "Jesus," he said. Then the worst part came. The men poured something on Keanu's car. Then they set it on fire. They laughed as they walked away. No one in the room moved. It was quiet. Keanu didn't move either. His eyes stayed on the screen. His jaw was tight. His breathing was soft. When the video ended, the only sound was the screen turning off. The police boss, a man named Marla, turned to Keanu. "That was Officer Cole and Officer Travis," he said. "County troopers. Are you sure you want to press charges?" Keanu's voice was calm but strong. "I'm not pressing charges," he said. Everyone looked confused. "I'm pressing the record," he explained. He pulled a small black flash drive from his pocket. "This is a backup for my car's second camera. It's clearer. You'll see their faces. Their badge numbers. The time. Marla took the flash drive. His hand was shaking. "Get your internal affairs chief," Keanu said. "Now." By the next morning, the video had been watched by state officers. By noon, it was all over the internet. By night, it had gone viral. People everywhere were talking about justice for Keanu. Not just because he was famous, but because the video showed the truth. This wasn't just about skin color, or fame, or bad cops. It was about something cold, something cruel. The idea that someone could be hurt and forgotten, that it wouldn't matter. Reporters asked for interviews. People wanted answers. But Keanu stayed quiet for now. The news was huge. Movie star beaten by officers in daylight. Troopers caught on video hurting Keanu Reeves. Governor, we will not let this go unpunished. At the police station, Keanu stood in a room full of other officers. Some looked sad. Some looked angry, but not at him. At what those two bad officers had done. Keanu looked around. Then he spoke. "This isn't about me," he said. "It never was. This is about what happens when people in power forget they are supposed to help others." Then he stepped back. The truth was out now. It was up to everyone else. And justice. Justice had just woken up. The forest was quiet again, except for voices on radios. Officers walked through the woods with flashlights and heavy boots. Keanu stood with Chief Marla at the edge of the trees. He wore a big warm jacket. His arm was wrapped up. His ribs still hurt badly. But he didn't sit down. A voice came through the radio. "We see them," it said. "The bad officers. Near the dry creek bed. No weapons. Waiting for your orders." Marla looked at Keanu. "You don't have to. Keanu's fight for survival. Be here for this," he said. Keanu didn't blink. "I am," he said. A few minutes later, two men came out. Their hands were up. Police with guns were around them. Their faces looked scared. They didn't look proud anymore. Their clothes were dirty and wet with sweat. They weren't acting like bullies now. They looked like people who were scared. When they saw Keanu standing in the open space, they stopped. Cole, the taller man, took a small step back. He looked at Keanu's hurt face, then at the officers around them. Travis, the other man, swallowed hard. "We didn't know," he said in a quiet voice. Keanu looked at them. His face didn't show any feeling. "No," Keanu said softly. "You didn't care." Cole's voice shook. "It was a mistake." Keanu raised one eyebrow. So was the fire. The forest felt very still, like even the trees were listening. Marla, another officer, stepped forward. "Arrest them." The two bad officers didn't fight. Their hands were pulled behind their backs. The handcuffs clicked loudly. It felt like something big just ended. Cole looked at Keanu one last time. "You don't have to ruin our lives," he said. Keanu took a small step closer. His voice was strong. "I didn't ruin your lives," he said. "You did that the moment you thought your badges made you better than others." He didn't say anything else. No one did. The two men were taken away. Their boots made dragging sounds in the dirt. At the police station, the room was full. No cameras. No news people. Just police officers from all over. State, city, county. Keanu walked in beside Marla. His body hurt, but his mind was strong. The two bad officers stood at the front. Their hands were tied. Their faces were red. They couldn't look at anyone. Keanu stepped forward. He didn't talk to them. He talked to the room. "We are not special because of our uniforms," he said. "We are special because of what we do when no one is watching." They thought no one was watching. But now the whole world is. Then Keanu turned to the two men. "You are not officers anymore," he said. "You will never be officers again. You will be charged with crimes. You will pay for my car, every single dollar. But more important," he said in a sharp voice, "you will remember this forever. You tried to make me disappear. But now, everyone will remember your names." Keanu walked out. The room made space for him. And behind him, It felt like justice was walking too. 2 weeks later, the fire was still going. Not in the woods. Not in the burned car. But in the country. People were talking on the news, on TV shows, and in court. The video of what happened was everywhere. Because of it, many police departments looked at their own cases again. Some officers were told to leave. New people came forward, sharing their stories. They felt brave because Keanu stayed strong and spoke up. Many people marched. They didn't say Keanu's name. They marched for the people who never got a chance to show what happened to them. Still, Keanu didn't speak much. Until now. The big room was full. Reporters from CNN, BBC, Al Jazeera, everyone was there. He didn't come to talk about a movie. He wasn't wearing a fancy suit. He wore black jeans, a dark jacket, and his arm was still hurt. He stood at the microphone. "I'm not here as a famous person," he said. "I'm not here as John Wick or Neo or any character. I'm here as a man who was hurt, robbed, and almost burned alive. Just because I looked like I didn't belong." The crowd made a quiet sound. "And I'm here because I lived. But not everyone does." He looked down, then back up. "If I wasn't famous, if there were no cameras in my car, if I didn't make it out of the forest, no one would have told this story. Or maybe no one would have cared." Now the room was totally quiet. "I didn't go public because it happened to me. I went public because this happens to other people every single day. And no one listens." Then Keanu reached into his jacket. He pulled out a paper. "This is the start of something new. It's called the Silent No More Initiative. Starting today, I'm giving money to help people. This group will give small hidden cameras for safety, help with lawyers, and help with healing after being hurt by police. No fancy events. No red carpets. Just real help." People started clapping. Not loud at first, but stronger and stronger. They weren't clapping for Keanu the movie star. They were clapping for the mission. Keanu looked at all the people one last time. Then he walked away from the microphone. No big movie speech. No dream of revenge. Just a quiet man who was almost left to die, now leading something big. That night, outside the building, someone painted a picture. It showed Keanu limping down a road. His car was burning behind him. And under it, in big white letters, it said, "They tried to silence him. He made the silence impossible." From that day on, people didn't just remember the attack. They remembered what came after. And they remembered the man who turned pain into a purpose. Because no one is too famous, or too regular, to be treated unfairly. Even someone like Keanu Reeves. This story was not about a movie star. It was about a system that didn't care until it knew who got hurt. And that is the big problem. If justice only works when it knows your name, then it's not real justice. It's not about power. It's about permission. Those officers didn't act because of their job. They acted because they thought they could, and no one would stop them. That kind of thinking lives in silence. But you shouldn't need to be famous to stay alive. You shouldn't need a camera to be treated like a person. If you like this story, tell me in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe for more fun adventures and mysteries. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.